How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all having an amazing day. In this video, we're going to be going over 3 low to mid-level money makers in old school RuneScape, all of which provide pretty decent gold per hour, one of which is AFK, and another one that can land you over 2 million gold per hour. We're going to get into that though. If this video helps you out at all, do me a favor and help me out by hitting that like button. But let's go ahead, cut this plug, and get right into it. So the first money-making method that I want to go over is actually fletching gems into bolt tips. And the interesting thing about this is that most gems are actually profitable doing this. For example, I bought 2,000 diamonds, and if I cut all 2,000 of these diamonds into bolt tips, I would make 1.14 million gold in profit. But the real question is, how many of these can you cut per hour? And looking at the wiki says you can cut 1,150 of these per hour. So if we just run off of that number and do some math from there, if I paid 1,690 gold per diamond and was able to sell the tips for 175 each, doing 1,150 of these per hour would get me a total of 475,000 gold per hour. But that requires 65 fletching, which is actually pretty dang high. Cool thing here though is that you can actually make more money by cutting opals, which only require level 11 fletching. I paid 1,350 gold per opal and was able to sell the opal tips for 152 gold each. If I cut 1,150 opals in an hour, I would end up with 13,800 opal tips. Selling those tips at 152 each would land you at 2,097,600 gold for a total profit of 545,000 per hour. I like this method because it's a really good second account AFK method. Basically no requirements, bro. Takes a lot of time to cut an inventory, so you definitely have plenty of time to AFK on another account, or well, AFK this account while you play another account. Overall, it's a pretty solid method, but let's move on into our next one, which is actually a lot more intensive, and that is generating imp jars. This method is pretty straightforward because everything that you need to do for it is done right here at this guy in Puro, aside from like the few bank trips that you'll need to make. The requirements are level 17 hunter as well as the completion of Lost City. So again, not the highest of requirements, but there are some requirements. Figured I'd point them out. Basically what you do is you take implings to this guy in exchange for a jar generator. This generator gives you 33 impling jars each time you fill that generator up. This guy at Puro actually stores up to 1,000 jars for you. So in one inventory here, I was able to get 1,023 jars before I would have had to bank. Now there might be a way to get around this, in which case you would make even more money. But I was able to get these 1,023 jars in a matter of 12 minutes. It cost me a total of 578,243 gold to get those jars, and those jars sold for 776,192 gold, in total profiting me 197,949 gold in only 12 minutes, which if we go ahead and add 3 minutes for banking time to and from and make it 15 minutes per 1,023 jars, that would translate into 791,000 gold per hour. This is a really intensive method though. It's something that you definitely got to be on the screen focusing and actively partaking in to make the money from, but you can still actually pull some really good money here. And depending on the price that you get the imps that you need to buy to get the jar generator, and depending on the margin, you might end up making more money. Speaking of margins though, that brings me into my final moneymaker that I want to go over, and probably one of my favorite. This thing has no requirements, no skill requirements, quest requirements, aside from the fact that you need a little bit of starting GP to get this going. And I know that sucks, but you know what? You can make some insane money here if the margins are right. And that, of course, is buying rock throne hammers. Again, double check your margins before you start doing this, but at the time of recording this video, I was able to sell these hammers for 268 gold each on the Grand Exchange. So what you're going to want to do is head over to a Slayer Master and start buying out the rock throne hammers. Depending on, what the margin is dependent on how many you can buy per world. But I was able to pick up 250 per world before it started cutting into my margin too deep, right? Now, I probably could have gone 200 per world and made more money per thrown hammer, but I would have gotten less thrown hammers. So regardless though, in 10 minutes, I spent 2,637,505 gold, and I got 11,750 thrown hammers. After selling the hammers for 268 gold each, I profited 488,000 gold in only 10 minutes, which if these margins held up would be a total profit of 2,928,000 gold per hour, which is absolutely insane. This does unfortunately, require a little bit of gold to start, but even just, getting the 400k because you only had 3 mil and you did it for 10 minutes, 400k in 10 minutes is 400k in 10 minutes, am I right? And if you happen to have, whatever it is, shoot, like 13, 14 mil to actually do this for an hour, bro, you're gonna be walking away with 3 million gold. That's a lot of money to walk away with in an hour for basically doing nothing. There is one last moneymaker that I want to throw in as a bonus. Let me know down in the comments if you're here and you made it this far. Comment like made it or something, made it to the bonus, whatever. Our last method though is an overtime method, which is why I didn't want to include it in the other ones, and it's a bonus one, if you will. It's basically because there is no specific potion that you can buy or method to use while doing this. You really just need to check and then double check the prices and sort of the trends, and then kind of figure out what you're doing from there. And that is overtime buying lower dosed potions to decant them into 4-dose potions. This method, it takes a little bit of time. This most likely will have to sit on offer in the Grand Exchange for multiple days for you to see, any large profit. But as an example, I started buying Super Restore 1-dose potions as well as Bastion 2-dose potions, and I started buying those yesterday and actually got a decent chunk of potions, right? So this only sat in the GE for maybe 24 hours. After decanting the potions, I made a total profit of 28,700 from the Super Restores, and from the Bastion potions, I managed to pull a profit of 1,506,000 gold in essentially 0 minutes of work. Really just some time sitting on the Grand Exchange buying the right things. They actually have a calculator on the wiki to figure out, what potions you should be looking into to start researching whether or not you should buy. Again, you should always double check the margins in game before you go deep on like making an offer on anything, right? But walking away with 1.5 million gold in essentially 0 minutes of work, just an offer sitting on the Grand Exchange. Now granted, the Bastion potions did cost me a pretty penny. Those cost 9.3 mil, so you will need some money to get this going. But really what you should be doing is taking your money from any of the past methods and making that money make you more money, right? You should always be looking for little cheeky ways to invest and flip that money around here in Old School RuneScape. Let me know down in the comments if you have any other fancy ways that you like to, make your money make you money. But that's really all the information that I wanted to go over in this video. Be sure to come stop by kick.com/Fringe-Patriot-Gaming, baby. We're gonna be streaming Deadman mode here coming up in just 2 days from posting this video, so I'm super excited about that. I cannot wait to get into some Deadman mode. We're gonna have a series running up here on the channel. Keep an eye out for that. Appreciate you guys all making it this far if you're still here. Other than that though, I hope you all have an amazing day. I'm out.